everybody. Alright, so you already know my name is Danielle Mitchell. My mentor was Dr. Brennan, and my co-mentor was Dr. Molina, and my area of research was Bronx Community College, and I'm from Frederick Douglass Academy. Alright, so cold cases, what are they? They are criminal investigations that have not been solved, usually unsolved for a year or more, and they are closed from further investigation, unless asked. What causes cases to close? It may be newfound technology that was unavailable at the time of the crime. Witnesses were uncooperative. Not enough evidence was found to form a conclusion. Time constraints or lack of reliable leads. Some ways to reopen a case may be new evidence that was not there before in a cold case may have been found on an exhumed body at the crime scene, on clothing, or on suspects. New technology like restriction fragment length polymorphism, polymerase chain reaction, short tandem repeat, mitochondrial DNA analysis, and Y chromosome analysis. And there may be new witnesses that come forward, or old uncooperative ones may decide to help out this time. Alright, so these are facts about mitochondrial DNA analysis. It is also known as mtDNA. Mitochondrial DNA comes from mothers, and all mothers have the same mitochondrial DNA as their daughters. Old DNA, such as bone, teeth, and hair, can be examined through mitochondrial DNA, and DNA is extracted from the mitochondria in the cell for analysis. So the steps, this is my methodology for mitochondrial DNA analysis. I want you to know now that we didn't actually get a chance to do this in the lab. If I leave this out, I'm sorry. The primary visual analysis is where trace evidence such as hair, blood cells, and skin cells are examined. The second step is sample preparation, where samples are cleaned thoroughly to prevent contamination of mitochondrial DNA. The third step is DNA extraction, exposed to a mixture of organic chemicals that separate DNA from other biological matter. The mixture is spun in a centrifuge, and it's this big machine, I wish I had a fish, I'm sorry. And the DNA sample is then purified again. The fourth step is amplification by PCR. There are millions of copies made from the mitochondrial DNA sample. And then the fifth step is post-purification and sequencing, where the DNA is purified and quantified. And if the PCR, because sometimes things go wrong in experiments. So if the PCR did not fail this time, re-extraction and re-amplification is done again. And the Sanger's method is used and produces different size DNA strands. And gel electrophoresis is the final step in this whole process. Alright, so this is a cold case. It's the murder of Rachel Kosov. Rachel Kosov was a 32-year-old woman who worked as the secretary office manager for Sandra Murphy Interiors in San Francisco. On June 6, 1983, Rachel was found nude from the waist down in her office with a leg of a pair of stockings strangling her. A rape kit done showed that Rachel had been sexually assaulted. In May 1984, Mike Edgar Dossett was interviewed by Gary Hopper, the detective on the case, about a dream that he mentioned to police. What they found weird about this was that he had some sort of banister dream that he said that he saw like a woman laying at the bottom of a banister of stairs, and he said that she had been raped, and there was a window that showed a parking lot, and it was the same. It consisted with the details of Sandra Murphy Interiors. The case was then closed because not enough evidence was there at the time to convict Dossett. So in 1995, when new technology was available, Detective Tim Britt reopened the case and he re-interviewed Dossett and got DNA samples from him. And though he had Dossett's DNA, Rachel Kosov's rape kit was gone, so they couldn't find it. So the case had to be closed again. In 2002, it was reopened by Detective George Sadler, and he had gotten information that the rape kit was in another lab. So he went to the lab, and when he found it, it was all moldy and it was bacteria all over it. So it was kind of hard to compare Dossett's DNA to it, but they actually got a match. And in 2003, Mike Dossett was convicted of Rachel Kosov's sexual assault and murder and was sentenced to 40 years in prison. Woo! All right, so my next slide has some very gruesome pictures, so I'm warning you now. This is an unsolved cold case. How do you use this? Oh, right? Many cold cases do go unsolved. One of the most famous in the United States was the Black Dahlia. You guys heard that movie and stuff, yes. The Black Dahlia, also, her real name was Elizabeth Short, and she was 22 years old, and she was living in Los Angeles as an aspiring actress, and she was working as a waitress. She would use men and stuff like that to get where she wanted to be. So when she was found murdered on January 15, 1947, the police had so many different suspects to use, and they wondered who could hate her that much that they could do this to her. Her body was found in an empty lot by a highway, and a car driving by reported it to the police. And when an autopsy was done of her body, they realized that the thing, like her face here, you see how it's slashed and the abrasions on her face, and how her body was cut in half. This is what really killed her, and blood loss. They realized that those wounds were done while she was still alive. To this day, the murderer of the Black Dahlia was never found. In the future, I hope to work with mitochondrial DNA analysis in a lab and to be able to actually get to study it. And I hope to be able to work out in the field with experienced crime scene investigators, or to be able to work with Dr. Molina out in the field, because he has done cases. Like, he worked on the O.J. Simpson case. Whoa. These are my references. Thank you. Any questions?
What is the screen provision?
Huh?
I just have to make one comment. When you present someone's case like that, both the audience and not that you did, just try to be respectful of the people, because it's a very serious matter, and so we have to be respectful of what has happened. So that you adopt a certain solemn attitude towards it. So, right? So just as something to share, when you present some cases like this, be very, very serious about it. Right?
Okay, thank you.
What is the standing method that you mentioned?
The what?
The standing method. It was in your own.
Oh, yes. See, I had that on paper. I'm sorry. Like I said, I didn't do the actual method, but on the paper that I had, the research paper that I had, it had said that it was like a sort of it re-amplifies and cleans out the mitochondrial DNA more thoroughly.